Lightheaded. Within a year of the album being released, Britney had won 4 Billboard Music Awards.
Our female artist of the year would be Britney Spears.
Britney Spears is also Billboard's New Artist of the Year, Female Singles Artist of the Year, and Female Albums Artist of the Year.
Thank you so much. This means so much to me. I'm so happy right now. Oh my goodness.
Keep in mind that 15 months before that moment, in the fall of 1988, we were praying that her first single would scratch the top 40. We were all diggy for Britney and feeling a little lightheaded ourselves. All I knew was that my child had worked very hard, and to see her passion pay off like that was just wonderful. With the release of Britney's second album, Oops, I Did It Again, her management team decided she should go on tour. I'm telling you, this all became a huge business before we knew what hit us. With the tour came merchandising, t-shirts, hats, keychains, and so on. And I was so glad I wasn't ever one of Britney's managers. I would leave it up to the professionals to decide on choreography and keychains, and I would continue teaching my little ones at school their reading, writing, and arithmetic. Of course, I wish now I had trusted the professionals a little less and given myself more credit for my own instincts. Britney was sky high with excitement over it all, and we shared her exhilaration. Still, it was too much to take in sometimes. Coming from our normal workaday world, when Larry and Britney came to me and asked me to quit teaching to travel with her, I was terribly torn. I agonized over that decision because it would mean leaving behind the career I loved and the still normal life I felt comfortable in. I'm basically a steady Eddie to my core. I like things to unfold in an orderly, predictably fashion. I was born and bred to expect those things to be true. Larry pointed out that I could make more income running Britney's fan club part-time than I could teaching full-time, but that didn't really sway me. I loved my students and I didn't want to leave them. What did finally win me over was, was the thought that I could keep an eye on things and be with Britney much more. She was only 18 years old and she still needed my guidance and influence. I would write a letter for Britney's website and do some other things for the fan club, but basically I would be her traveling companion. After much thought and not evidently enough prayer, I decided to quit my job and join my daughter on tour. Making it. It's hard for me to say exactly how I felt the first time I saw Britney on stage. I was sitting back with the sound guys, a perch that would eventually become my regular place to roost during her shows. Nervousness mingled with excitement and resulted in speechlessness. I watched in awe as Britney sang and danced through her first headlining show. When it was over, I burst into tears, the culmination of an emotionally charged experience capping off years of investment on all our parts to get Britney in this point. Well, I should say this point wasn't exactly anything we could have imagined in our most delusional dreams, but she had achieved far beyond what she had always dreamed of achieving, and as her mother, I applauded that from the depths of my soul. I was so happy for my child, and also a little relieved. Somehow, by the grace of God, mostly, plus years of practice and sweat and tears, she had made it, but at what cost? I was soon to find out what I was in way over my head. The Rolling Stone cover. The first time I felt my anchor was slipping, that my authority as a mother was really undermined, was Britney's first Rolling Stone cover in April 1999. Keep in mind that new things were being flung at us, fast and furious, and I didn't have a hint of what I was doing. I mean, we were straight off the vine ripe, if you know what I mean, clueless. I trusted in the professionals surrounding my daughter to make the right decisions. After all, what did I, a rural Louisiana school teacher, know about the music industry? But by deferring to experts, I gave up far too much influence. The Rolling Stone cover was just one of our flurry of new and exciting experiences for Britney and all of us by extension. Right after Baby One More Time hit it so big, the magazine had sent a crew to our old house, trying to stay out of the way and peeking in whenever we could to see how the shoot was going. This was our first experience ever with a magazine photo shoot, and we were like deer in the headlights. Britney was exhausted at the end of the second day, and her knee was throbbing. For some reason, now I know exactly what that reason was. The photographer wanted to shoot some pictures in Britney's bedroom, which was a small room, especially when they had crammed in all of their equipment. No alarm bells didn't go off in my head right away. I had no idea the man was going for a lascivious angle. In my still naive mind, he was going to shoot a sweet picture of a teenage girl in her heaven with stuffed animals and posters on the wall and memorabilia on her dresser. Since the room was packed, we couldn't get in there very easily, although Larry did steal a look here and there. When that bedroom door suddenly shut tight, though alarm bells started ringing. All right. Larry ducked in to check up, and the photographer, when I heard him say, "That's enough," in an unhappy tone, I barked right in after him. What I saw was Britney in a bra and hot pants, sitting on her bed. At that moment, I didn't care who was authorizing this photo shoot. It was over. Let's stop now, I said, flustered and uncomfortable. Jamie was furious. "This is stupid," he said, spitting out his words. He immediately left the house in a huff, not knowing what to do. Still, although we felt the photographer had crossed the line, we were comforted by the fact that no one would ever see a photo of my daughter in that skimpy outfit. Why? We assumed we would have final say over which pictures were chosen. Besides, they took so many cute shots. Why would they want this one, taken in her overcrowded little room? I believe that photographer knew exactly what he was doing, and he also was well aware of the fact that I was never going to be given the right of approval for shots taken of my 17-year-old child. And the rope was. I didn't even know enough then to demand to see the shots. I innocently believed that the magazine would approach us when they were ready for our opinion. Larry told me recently that in actuality no one was offered editorial approval, not even him, and since he was also new at this managing business, he didn't realize that would happen either. When I saw the cover, my heart sank, and my face burned with embarrassment and anger. Oh my gosh, how did this slip through the cracks? How did this happen? Already lines were being crossed. Yet I foolishly thought I was still in control, when in reality my authority was slipping with every day and every dollar being spent and made on my daughter's career. On tour. Despite that magazine cover, or maybe because of it, Britney's career exploded, and because I had quit teaching, I joined her on her first world tour in 2000. But as we traveled all over the USA, Canada, and Europe, our routine was surprisingly dull. Around noon, Britney would get up, having gotten to bed after midnight and then sleeping in two shifts, and we would eat, and then she would do her exercises, The afternoon would likely include an interview with magazine, a newspaper, radio, or TV station, or possibly a charity event of some kind. We would eat supper, and then Britney would have her hair and makeup done. Finally, around 8 or 9 at night, she would take the stage and perform the show. After unwinding a bit, we would all pile on the bus and sleep until 3 or 4 in the morning, when we would be waking up in the other city somewhere. We would groggily stumble to our hotel room and sleep until noon, when the whole thing would start all over again. Actually, it was very boring. If Jamie Lynn was with me, we would do schoolwork together, or if she brought a friend, I would keep an eye on them. She and her friend would have the run of the arena or stadium, and they would bum around on golf carts, having themselves a big time. The brightest spots on our day was late at night, after the tour bus had shoved off from whatever city Britney had played in. Jamie Lynn and her friend Crystal would come up with skits and perform them for us all on the bus. But let me tell you, all they cared about was getting a laugh out of Big Rob. Those girls adored the gentle giant who would twirl both of them around his neck at the same time, and they would compete for his attention. In fact, Jamie Lynn came up with Thelma Stump, who would become her signature character on All That Year Later, on that bus. She based her on a mix between her great-grandma, Lexi, and Big Rob. Crystal was usually Jamie Lynn's straight man, and we would have the best time, night after night, rolling down the highways of the world, laughing ourselves silly. It was a new kind of routine for us, our new world. Interesting, isn't it? How the fantasy of going on a world tour seems to be so glamorous and wonderful, and yet the actuality was fairly monotonous and in some ways. But that's the thing for you. The way you might imagine it is nothing like the reality. When I first saw big success on its way to my child, I only saw bright lights, fans appreciating her music, and the chance for her to travel and gain a financially secure future. But there are two sides of the coin. When fame turned the corner, if you will, I was in for a rude awakening.